there, chipmunks! Welcome to the AMP Cycling Ride Review Series. I'm your host, Angry Chipmunk, and today we'll be taking a look at a stage from the 2023 Vuelta a España, Valencia. This route is available on Rouvy, so let's get right to it. This is a moderately short route at 29 kilometers long with almost no elevation gain at a mere 41 meters. The whole ride averages just 0.1% and maxes out at 1%. This route is incredibly flat. Now, unfortunately, I experienced a computer glitch when I was capturing this ride, so I'm missing the final 5 kilometers of it. The route is pretty much the same as the rest of the ride, but I believe that it cuts out the best views of the ride, which is unfortunate. There are 2 Strava segments included on Rouvy, with 4 on Strava itself. 3 of the segments are kind of sprints, with the 4th being quite a bit longer and denoting something of relevance in Spain, but I'm not really sure what it is. The first Strava segment is El Salar Cullera, first 6 miles. This segment is available on Strava only and is the non-sprint. It's at about the 4.5 kilometer mark, is just over 10 kilometers long, with 6 meters of elevation gain averaging 0%. Like all of the segments in this route, it's nothing really special with nothing much of note about it. If you're traveling along at speed, you won't notice the start, middle, or finish here. There's no challenges in this one at all, and really I'd ignore it altogether and try for a better time on the sprints than this one, especially as the next sprint is fully contained within this segment. The first sprint and Rouvy segment is Suka Sprint. It's at the 7 kilometer mark, is 1.12 kilometers long, with 3 meters of elevation gain, averaging 0.2% and maxing out at 1%. Again, this route is so flat that you won't actually need to change anything about how you're riding for this segment if you don't really care about the sprints. If you want to do well though, watch for it on the course profile so that you can plan your speed as you come into it. It's pretty long for a sprint, but also flat enough that you can push pretty hard. And as there's just more flat after it, there's plenty of recovery time before the second sprint. The third segment is Les Palmares. It's at the 17.5 kilometer mark, is 2 kilometers long, with 3 meters of elevation gain, averaging 0%. This one is a bit long as a sprint, but it's also such a flat segment that you can really just come into it hot and continue to push the whole way. There's nothing challenging about this segment and nothing to look out for on it, so just go wild. The last segment is just a bunch of emotes, a bike, 2 beefy arms, and then another bike. It's at the 21.5 kilometer mark, is 1.44 kilometers long, with 2 meters of elevation gain, averaging negative 0.1%. I'm not too sure what this is exactly, but it's on Strava, so you might as well make a good push for the extra credit. To the end of the route is exactly the same as the rest of the ride. And for this ride, you'll want to warm up for your intended effort. If you want a nice leisurely ride, you can use part of the route as warm-up and cool-down. But if you want to push hard from the start and hit the sprints, I would suggest say 5 to 10 minutes so you're nice and warm. And the cool-down should also reflect your effort. And as always, I recommend pre-fueling your rides and including plenty of protein with that. This is such a short and easy ride that while pre-fueling isn't absolutely necessary, it is still a better option so you don't need to eat much during the ride itself. If you're pushing this one pretty hard, aim for say 10 to 20 grams somewhere around the halfway point just to keep up with your output. If you're taking it a bit easier, fueling during the ride itself isn't really needed if you've pre-fueled. Be sure not to overfuel short rides like this, but also be mindful of your energy expenditure so as not to bonk midway. The view on this ride is pretty middle of the road. A fair amount of the ride is on a decently busy highway, but it's nestled in between some trees and fields. The second half gets a lot nicer with some beautiful mountain views. The views aren't the worst on offer, but they're not really something I would go out of my way to see. If you're looking for a leisurely ride amongst great scenery, I'd probably give this one a pass. I tried to push this one pretty hard and finished it in just under 1 hour on 100% difficulty emulation. With the ability to contain your warm-up and cool-down within the ride, I would say to budget anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes, depending on how you want to ride this one. If you want to go hot from start to finish, it can definitely be a suitable choice for those with time restraints. Overall, this is an interesting route that I feel very middle of the road about. It's super flat and very boring with no features that I really enjoy about Rouvy. But having said that, it's a perfect route to push hard and try for some FTP gains, or to use as a sandwich route around more intense rides. And given the flat nature of this route, it is perfectly suitable for every level of rider out there. Even the distance is not super overwhelming. At any point along this route, it is suitable to stop and pick up again later if you need to. For this route, I give a 3.5 out of 5. It's just a little boring for my tastes. This route really excels at being a distance goal for a newer rider. The easy nature of this route might see a more experienced rider get bored pretty quickly. For the view, 3.5 out of 5. It's just not that exciting. There's plenty of great views in Spain, but this seems to miss all of them. The highway is very busy with cars, and that makes it feel like I'm traveling along in my car instead of riding my bike. For the climbs, there are none. And overall, 3.5 out of 5. Again, not great, not terrible. Best for the reasons already mentioned, but not something I would seek out to do again and again. It does have its uses though, but it's just not a very exciting route. Well, that's it for this review, so thanks for watching, Chipmunks. Please let me know what you think of the Valencia route when you've completed it. I'll leave you to finish the rest of the ride, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks for another review. Until then, ride on, Chipmunks, ride on.